on Freedom Journal Iraq, Iraqis prepare to assume control of national security, and air assault soldiers get a new place to rest between missions. Hello, I'm Air Force Sergeant Christy Byers. Welcome to this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. In recent months, Baghdad has seen a significant decrease in the amount of attacks on coalition bases, thanks in part to coalition raids which have taken weapons and equipment out of enemy hands. On Iraq's border with Iran, coalition border training teams are working with the Iraqi army to stop weapons from coming into Iraq in the first place. Petty Officer Chad Bricks has the story.
Just past this Iraqi flag, 1,500 people and 600 trucks enter Iraq from Iran every day. The mission of these Iraqi army soldiers is to stop smuggling across that border.
Currently in the war on terror, especially in Iraq, what we're seeing is a lot of accelerants, things like explosives, rockets, weapons, ammunition, as well as trained soldiers coming across the border from Iran. Also terrorist groups, insurgents, Al-Qaeda, whoever it is, they're trying to come across the borders illegally as well.
Coalition border training teams, or BIT teams, are working to interdict or disrupt smuggling. Their role is to advise their Iraqi counterparts with help from former U.S. Border Patrol agents. They teach them tactics and how to better do their job. The efforts have started to pay off.
The terrorist elements on the other side are seeing this, they're noticing it, and the drop-off in attacks throughout Wasat province and in Baghdad using Iranian arms is significant enough that we've noticed that our work here has had some success.
BIT teams are a relatively new concept. They began operating in Wasat province 2 years ago when evidence of smuggling was first discovered. 14 months later, 20 teams began operations across all of Iraq's borders. Petty Officer Chad Bricks, Iraq-Iran border.
Training the Iraqi army to secure the border is just one part of the broader goal of transition. Before leaving Iraq, coalition forces must ensure that the people are capable of running all aspects of national security on their own. Air Force Sergeant Nicholas Kurtz takes us inside the facility, where Iraqis prepare themselves to assume full control of national defense.
The coalition is lending its full support to Iraq's security forces, helping them move closer to assuming sole responsibility for national defense. Much of the progress towards that goal takes place here at the Ministry of Defense Development and Training Center.
This facility was designed specifically to qualify individuals, civilians, in their particular functional areas.
Since the fall of Saddam's regime, Iraq's Ministry of Defense has been rebuilt from scratch. The training that takes place here prepares Iraqi defense personnel for the multitude of responsibilities they'll need to assume to handle national security.
The courses range from budgeting, acquisition, to communications, human resource management, inspector general, security, a whole host of courses from the basic level all the way up to a more advanced level.
Until now, we don't have any reference to put job description for any people he work, high level or under level. Now, my friend, fight. We need to put rules to support him.
This will allow the Iraqis to take over full functioning of their ministries and allow coalition to start withdrawing or moving to other needs inside the country. It allows the Iraqis to handle all of their security requirements inside of Iraq. And right now, coalition still provides a safety net, but we're trying to pull that safety net away, and this type of training center allows us to do that.
The Iraqi-run training facility relies on minimal coalition support and serves as an indicator that Iraq is gradually approaching self-sufficiency. Air Force Sergeant Nicholas Kurtz, Baghdad.
In West Samarra, coalition forces discovered an alleged terrorist detention facility and several weapons caches during an operation to disrupt Al-Qaeda and foreign terrorist operations in central Iraq. A 24-hour operation uncovered a bunker allegedly used as a terrorist detention facility and an area with several hidden weapons caches. Among other weapons, ammunition, and military equipment, the ground forces found anti-aircraft weaponry, 12 AK-47 rifles, 18 mortar tubes, 37 mortar rounds, 4 rocket-propelled grenades, 96 RPG fuses, and 8 RPG launchers. An expert explosives team was used to safely destroy the detention facility to prevent further use by terrorists. Coming up, air assault soldiers get a new place to rest between missions.
Here's your raid report. In Kirkuk, coalition forces captured a wanted individual during an operation targeting an Al-Qaeda and Iraq leader and a career terrorist. Reports indicate the individual is responsible for the car bombing attack that destroyed the Taji Bridge. killing 10 Iraqi civilians and wounding 6. 7 other suspected insurgents were detained without incident. Coalition forces captured 2 wanted individuals during operations north of Tikrit. Both are reportedly associates of terrorist leaders, and one is believed to have ties to terrorist networks in Haditha and is allegedly a subordinate of the leaders for the AQI network operating in the Saladin province. Near Balad, Iraqi army soldiers discovered a large weapons cache and detained 81 people during a clearing operation. The cache consisted of numerous weapons and explosives. And that's your raid report. I'm Seaman Eric Jones.
Here's your OIF weather forecast. We'll start in Baghdad, where you'll see sun all week with highs in the 80s and lows in the 50s and 60s. To the north, you'll see some cloud cover with highs around 80 and lows in the 40s and 50s. And in the south, Basra will see sun in 90s for the rest of the week with lows in the mid-50s. That's your OIF weather forecast. I'm Petty Officer Andrew Carlson.
Here are the latest headlines about Operation Iraqi Freedom. According to the New York Times, an Iraqi judge ruled there's enough evidence to try 2 former health ministry officials, both Shiites, in the killing and kidnapping of hundreds of Sunnis, many of them snatched from hospitals by militias. The Associated Press says nearly 2.3 million Iraqis, the majority women and children, have fled their homes but remain inside Iraq's borders. The number of internally displaced people in Iraq grew by 16% in September. That figure has skyrocketed since the beginning of 2007, when less than 500,000 people were displaced. Al-Mashriq reports the Ministry of Finance says it gave $250 million for public works projects in Anbar province that was allocated in the 2006-2007 budget, and the government will open 2 banks providing financial services to its citizens. Those are your headlines from around the region. I'm Air Force Sergeant Alana Ingram.
Welcome back. Air assault soldiers need to be ready to conduct missions at a moment's notice. As Army Private John Cano shows us, soldiers now have a new rest area right next to where they need to be when the action kicks off.
For 14 months, the 2nd VCT has been running air assaults, aerial resupplies, and administrative movements out of PZ Commando, a helipad near the Brigade Tactical Operations Center. They built a housing facility in the bunker next to the pad, in which pilots can plan upcoming missions, and soldiers on the Quick Reaction Force can rest between operations. Chief Foreign Officer Leo Foss said there was a lot of restoration that went into the project.
Well, this building is actually one of the bombed-out structures from Saddam's era, used to house MiG aircraft here at Bayab International Airport.
2 BCT will hand over the new living and planning quarters to the 3rd Brigade 101st Airborne Division, so they can build on it and improve the facility. Reporting for the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 10th Mountain Division, this is Army Private John Cano from Camp Stryker, Iraq.
During the British occupation of Iraq in the 1920s, the basic idea of scouts was brought to the country. Today, the Kashafa, Iraq's version of scouts, is teaching local children moral values and leadership skills. Seaman Eric Jones tells us more.
Veteran Kashafa leaders from Baghdad took charge in the inauguration of a new camp in the International Zone, giving the Baghdad Scouts a place of their own.
Today we're hosting a day camp for the Iraqi Scouts. Today they are learning how to raise their flag, how to wear their uniform, their pledges, some songs, some games, and some crafts they can do as scouts.
The camp was organized by the Iraqi government and the Green Zone Council, a collection of coalition military and civilian volunteers. The scouts themselves played a big role in getting the camp set up, earning money through fundraisers so they can eat when at camp.
It was fun because all my friends were there, and we're like, you know, it's the first time in my life to sell something, and something I haven't do at all. It was fun.
The goal of this camp is to give the children, who came from a variety of backgrounds, a safe and fun group to be part of.
All of things in the Scouts, it's beautiful. But the most important thing, I'm with my friends.
Right now the camp is merely starting, but in the future the camp will have permanent structures, water, electricity, and hiking paths. Seaman Eric Jones, Baghdad.
Next time on Freedom Journal Iraq, coalition forces work with Iraqi doctors to give medical aid to local citizens. That does it for this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. Check out mnf-iraq.com for all the latest OIF information. From all of us here at AFN and Freedom Journal Iraq, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.